Hey guys, this is Karen from Blue Rooster Farm, and today I have come out to the garden and I just need to pick a few things to bring back into the kitchen, and I thought I'd just bring you along with me. So let's go and check out what's going on in the garden. So I've got me a bucket and I've got a basket and I've got a knife. So let's see what we got. They got the old stump burnt out and Andy has filled it with dirt. And so that's nice to have that project finished. That's my horseradish. And we've also planted two little plum trees. These are just a Missouri native plum trees. Just put a couple there to see what they do. Corn is looking good. Garlic. Strawberries. Got some green beans here, and found out Andy had planted some seeds that were older, and that's why there's a few spots, but I think he's got them close enough together that we're going to get plenty with that part right there. I cut another huge batch of spinach, and it was just this row, and it was more than I had picked earlier, and it just really came out. And you can see this is just 2 days ago, and these are already getting leaves again. This spinach over here has started bolting, and so I just didn't pick any to freeze. We just picked some of the leaves off to eat in salads and things. And here is our peppers, and we just still have the soaking hose there from when they were transplanted. And we also have a few carrot plants intertwined in there because last fall Andy planted a few seed and they never came up. And so I guess this spring, after he had tilled the garden and everything, we had a few volunteers come up. So that was interesting, and they look like they're doing really good. So we'll just see what happens. You know, it may be that we need to plant our carrot seeds in the fall and just let them set and then let them sprout in the spring. That's kind of what they suggest to do for spinach. But once the heat starts, the peppers will really get going. They're doing fine right now, but we always find that they really like the heat. I did notice that there's a couple of plants over here that had little tiny peppers on them. That's always funny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my bucket and I'm going to pick some strawberries, and then I'll show you what I picked. All right, there is a nice bucket full of really pretty strawberries, and they are juicy and they are sweet. And I will tell you that if you haven't eaten a homegrown strawberry before, you are missing out on something. I guarantee you that this one that has green on it is sweeter than those bright red ones that you have in the grocery store. These are really good. The ones at the store don't always have flavor, and a lot of times they're drier. These are juicy, these are sweet, and if you've never tasted a homegrown or hand-picked strawberry, you need to try it. You're missing out. They are really good. So let's see what we're going to check out now. I think I'm going to go over here and get a few onions. In our other garden here, it looks like our tomatoes are doing well. They are starting to grow. Now, we did have about 10 of our plants, or maybe even more than that, get eaten by rabbits right off the bat after we planted them. We did get some new fencing, and we had been using just the old sheep fencing, and the holes in it are too big. The rabbits can get right through it. But this has the smaller openings, and it is made for a garden. And I'll put a video right here showing you more and how we put it in.
Okay, so here we are with our new netting for the garden, and it's going to help, as Kieran was talking about. We have some rabbit issues getting in, and this has a lot finer mesh to it at the bottom. And so we got that. Bought it from Premier One out of Iowa. It's a good fencing company. I bought fencing equipment off them for years for the sheep and the farm and things like that. This is netting that's specifically designed for a garden situation. We got the green just so it'd blend in more and not be an eyesore, I guess, out there in the yard. Those are just spare parts that Kieran's showing you there that comes with a little repair kit that if you get a tear in it or something like that, you can splice it. And it does come with warning signs because it is, depending on the strength of your charger, it's carrying an electrical charge in this netting, so you want to be sure to be careful. And go to Premier's site. They have all kinds of information on safety with electric fences and things like that. We do have a 8-joule fencer on ours, which is more powerful than you would need for just a garden, but it goes around our whole small farm here. So we have it a little stronger than what you would need, but you don't want to touch it because it'll give you a good wallop. This I'm showing on the two ends. I just wrap them around the two end posts to kind of help tie those posts together. And then they have clips on the end that just slide together there, and they're carrying current there from one roll of wire to the next. And I'm going to lay these out. You'll see that the netting is folded up and folds. You just fold it from one post to the next, and then when you get them all folded together, then you roll it up at the very end. And again, Premier has information there on the website on how to do that and keep them neat and tidy and keep them from getting coiled up or tangled up, I should say. I'm just setting it up in two. These are two 100-foot rolls, and they work perfectly for both of our gardens. They came out just about right. Had a little bit of overlap on this one, but not much. You see down here, we tie in at the corner. We ran an underground power line to this corner post there, right there, and that black line coming up that I just grabbed, and that's coming from our charger over in the pasture there. We buried that line so we could have electricity around the garden. And then you can get clips that'll clip onto that wire end and then clip to the attach to the clip on the roll of netting, but you can also just slide the end of the wire, the bare wire, in there too, and you'll be able to see it a little bit closer here in a minute. And you can, if those clips are too tight, you can bend them up a little bit to get a thicker wire like that in there. But that's got it all hooked up, and it's all up, and you can see that connection there. And just a matter of going over and turning on. We got an on-off switch over at the fence post at the pasture. Keep in mind, any plants that this netting touches, it'll smoke them. It'll kill them. After a while, we had a little walnut tree that was touching it, and it's killed it already. So, gotta keep that in mind, and of course, keep children and especially little children and things like that out of it and away from it for safety's sake.
But it has helped our garden as far as keeping those rabbits out, and our tomatoes now that we've replanted, are doing great. So just a little heat for them and they will be very happy. And our onions, oh, they're just doing really good. In fact, we can't keep up with eating them because we were going to be picking in between each of the onions. We planted them pretty close, but they are just growing so fast and they are so good. But we're going to have a lot of onions this year, and some of them have really nice size to them already. And we have corn and some lima beans, and then one row of potatoes right over there. And that's what we have growing so far. I believe we'll put something here. I'm not sure if it's going to be another row of corn or just beans. We also have another section in the other garden that I think we'll also have for either beans or corn too. But I do need to get zucchini out. I have not planted any zucchini. I keep forgetting. So what I came out here to get was a little bit of this onion right here. So I'm going to turn the electric fence off and I'm going to get me some onions, and then I'll show you what I picked. Okay, so I got a little spinach and I got some onions here, and they're looking really good. I'm going to use part of it for green onions. But this one that's got the bigger bulb, I noticed whatever variety this one is, it is starting to form a seed pod. So these are going to be the ones that we're going to be picking first, because these won't store. Once they start doing the seed pod, they are not as good. I know some people will take this off, but I found that you might as well eat them right away. So let's see. I think I'm going to pick a handful of flowers. So let's go get some flowers. If you could smell right over here, these are old-fashioned roses, and they smell so good. You don't even have to be next to them. They are just beautiful. I think I can find some peonies to bring inside. Let me cut a few. Isn't that just a beautiful color, peony? Just so dark and pink, and it smells so good. Here is one of my favorite spring bloomers. It's our wisteria. It smells so good right now. Just so good. It just reminds me of when I was young. Beautiful. All right, so here are the flowers that I gathered, and they're looking pretty. The heat and the rain has really hit the peonies hard, but I think they'll freshen up once I get them into some cold water. So I'll put this together and I'll show you our pretty bouquet when it's finished. And there is our beautiful flower arrangement that we made just from the flowers from the yard. Isn't it pretty? And I'm using my runner that I made. So there's a pretty bouquet, and it'll last for several days, especially if it doesn't get too hot, and we'll enjoy it. Well, I want to enjoy these beautiful strawberries, and so I thought I would make a pound cake today. I hadn't planned on it, but as I was thinking, what could I make so that Andy and I could enjoy some of these tonight, I thought, well, I've made an angel food cake the other day. How about a pound cake today? And so since I hadn't planned on making it, I didn't have my butter and cream cheese at room temperature, so I did use the microwave, and I got both the cream cheese and the butter softened, and now I'm ready to make some. So this pound cake recipe comes from the Southern Living Cookbook, and I believe this is 2008, the publishing on this book, and it is a cream cheese pound cake. And when I went through the ingredients, it doesn't have any liquid, no milk or anything, but that's probably because of the cream cheese, which will make it very dense and very rich. So I have looked at several different recipes that I had, and this is the one I chose. This one does not have a pound of butter, which most of them do. That's why it was called a pound cake. This one has 3 sticks of butter instead of 4. Now there is another recipe that is a cream cheese pound cake from Southern Living. I have another Southern Living cookbook, and it was just a little bit different than this one. I think a little bit less sugar and maybe less butter. I'm not sure, but there was a couple of things different. So I went ahead and chose this one. This is the one we're going to be using. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to take our butter, which is softened, not melted, softened. It will give you a different consistency if you melt it. And I'm not sure how that would turn out. And then we also need our cream cheese. And this is 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese. So we had 3 sticks of butter, which is 1.5 cups, and then an 8-ounce block of regular cream cheese. And both of them are room temperature softened. And we're going to put them in a mixer, and we are just going to let them soften up and mix together. Once that's incorporated and all mixed together, I'm going to just give a bit of a scrape down, and we're going to start gradually adding our sugar and making sure we mix well as it's gradually being added so it becomes nice and fluffy. So this is 3 cups of regular white sugar. See, that's nice and fluffy. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add 6 large eggs, one at a time, and just mix until the yellow disappears, the yolk disappears, and then add the next one. So I have 7 eggs because these are smaller eggs. And I probably could actually use 8, but this is all we have right now. Andy's bringing some home from after work today. So I'm going to add 7 eggs, but you'll add 6 large. So what I thought I'd do is I'd go ahead and crack all of them right into this measuring cup, and then I will just pour one at a time, or to the best of my ability, one at a time, and mix them as I add them. And these have a nice golden yolk. Okay, let's turn the mixer on. Really pretty golden color. So I'm just going to scrape the sides and then give it another mix. All right, that looks good. Okay, now the last, well, just about the last thing. We're going to take, it says 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. I think I'm going to use more of 1/4 of a teaspoon. I think it will bring out the flavors a little nicer. So I'm using kosher salt, and I'm going to use a little bit more than 1/4 of a teaspoon just because it has a coarser granulation to it. And so it takes a little bit more to be the same amount as regular finely ground salt. So I've got the 2 of those mixed. And let's see, I'm not gonna dirty up another spoon. This is the one I had my cream cheese in. I'm just gonna move it around a little bit. It'll get mixed up pretty good in this batter. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add this gradually to our butter mixture and mix well after each addition. Okay, and before that's completely mixed in, I am going to add some vanilla and some almond. You don't have to add the almond, but I really like the flavor of it. So I'm going to add about, I think, a teaspoon. Let me go ahead and add a teaspoon of almond. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla because the recipe calls for a tablespoon of vanilla, which is 3 teaspoons. So I'll just substitute a teaspoon of the almond for one of those vanillas. And you know what? If some of this vanilla accidentally spills in there, oops, like that, I'm good. Don't you want to just stick your finger in there right now? I just gave that a real fast mix, and I'm going to scrape the sides and see if I've got it all mixed together. Oh, that looks so good. Just give it one more little whir just to make sure I've got the stuff that was on the side mixed in. All right, there, that's good. Okay, so now what we need to do, and let me just set this here for a second. Now, this will be put in a very large bundt pan or tube pan. It says a 10-inch tube pan or a 10-inch bundt pan, but because it's just Andy and I here this weekend, and the boys won't be home probably for another weekend, I am going to put it in 2 loaf pans, and if I have leftovers, I have some mini loaves I can also add. So I'm going to put this in here, and I'll fill it up to about 2/3 full. And that way, if it needs to rise, which it will rise, it has some rising room. So let me go ahead and take this off. On the pans, I have sprayed them with oil, and then I have given them a really good layer of flour. I just pour my flour in there, pat it around, just shake it around like this, and just make sure it's coated, especially in the corners and at the bottom. And that way they will be able to come out okay. If you don't do that, it may not come out nicely. Just making sure there's nothing on the bottom and everything is well mixed in. let's see what we have there. Now I have my oven preheating at 300 degrees, and this is going to cook for, I believe, 1 hour and 45 minutes. And because I have it in smaller pans, mine will be taking less time, I'm sure. So I will have to watch it to see, probably between 1 hour and 15, 1 hour and 30. I'll be checking to see what we've got and then just watching it from there. But if you have it in the tube pan or in a bundt pan, you'll need to cook it for 1 hour and 45 minutes. 300 degrees is not very hot, so it will take probably all of that time. It looks like I have a little batter left, so let me dig out a little pan and we'll put that in there. So I found both some mini bundt pans and some mini loaf pans, not very big. And I think I'm gonna try little mini bundt pans. And I think I can get 2 of these at least, maybe 3. So let me oil and flour these and I'll be right back. All right, so I think I've got those coated. Let's see what we have here. And that looks like a perfect amount. So I'm going to wash my hands and then I'm going to put these in the oven for, I'll check these at about 1 hour and 15 minutes, but these I will probably be checking at 30, 35 minutes and see where we're at. It is still a low temperature, but these won't take very long at all. There's not that much dough in there. I'll bring you back when they come out of the oven. Okay, these look like they are all done. I took a knife, a sharp knife, and stuck it in the middle and it came out clean. These came out probably after 50 minutes. Now I did have a heavier pan underneath them, so maybe that made them not cook as fast, but they took longer than I thought. These took 1 hour and about 20 minutes, so they took a little less than the big bundt pan, but they look great. Now, if you had it in a bundt pan, you would let it set for about 15 minutes and then you'd turn it out while it's still just a bit warm, because otherwise you might have a hard time getting it to come out. So these you could leave in and cut them from there, or I will turn these over probably after about 15-20 minutes and let them cool as well. Like I'm probably going to be freezing one of these, I could leave it in the pan and cover it with aluminum foil and that would be fine too. Sometimes when I do that and I take it out and after it's warmed up to room temperature, I will warm up the bottom on the stove and that will loosen it up just a little bit so that I can turn it out, especially after I've trimmed around the edges with a sharp knife to make sure it's not stuck on the sides. So any of those things will work. We can try one of these and see if we can get this to flip out. I probably should have done it a little earlier. They are still a little bit warm, but let's try flipping one of those out. So on these little pans, I am just going to use a little paring knife that's real thin and just kind of put it around the edges, not cutting the cake, but just checking to see if there's anything holding onto it on the sides. And I can feel it wiggling around already, so it's starting to loosen up. Oh, it's going to come out now. So there we have a really cute one. And you can see that that was the flower and stuff, and it did help it come out. It will be really cute, filled with strawberries, overflowing with some whipped cream on top. So that's how we're going to have our dessert tonight. So I will bring it back when it's time to serve it up. So I've just sliced up our strawberries, a few of them, and I'm just putting just a little bit of sugar, not much. They're really sweet and flavorful already, but just tossing them in that. And then I'm just gonna let this set out so that they'll get nice and juicy with that sugar on it. And Andy and I are gonna be working out in the yard this evening, and it might be pretty late before we come in and eat dessert. So I will probably not be doing a taste test. I'll just get a picture of it when it's done, but I do know that these are going to be delicious. Thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. Also, don't forget to like and share. And remember, there is a notification bell underneath this video that you can click on if you want to be reminded when a video comes out. So thanks again for watching, and have a great week.